Movie notes on Independence Day, 1996 film, 27 November 2024 viewing. This one I decided to watch today, Wednesday, 27 November 2024. And it's like Independence Day, different kind of holiday movie. It's an Independence Day movie. And since Independence Days are kind of not necessarily the same calendar day all around the world, you know, it's kind of it's like a liberated approach to the concept of Independence Day. So in some countries it's called Independence Day, in countries it's called Constitution Day. And so I'm going to link to my Notes on Holiday Films playlist. That playlist is meant for kind of holiday films. I classify this as a holiday film. And so my description for this viewing is it's a fiction film about different individuals teaming up to take down a spaceship of aliens invading planet Earth, including utilizing cutting-edge military alien technology in government facilities. So I do also kind of classify this. I won't link to it in the video description, but I do have a Notes on Military / War Books and Movies playlist. And I'll put this in there. I think I put World War Z and science instead of military / war, because for me that one really was, my takeaways were science, and so this one is kind of more of like military / government kind of, or that intertwinement kind of thing. I greatly enjoy it. It's got great casting. I think they did a great job on casting. I would say the feel, it kind of hits more of a Hunt for Red October military tone for me, including in terms of kind of like filming style. If you've seen that, the one with Sean Connery, if I'm recalling correctly. And for this viewing, so there's actually two, when I go in and get the DVD menu, there's two different versions to watch, and I went with the theatrical version for this viewing. So the theatrical version is the version of a movie played in theaters, or the cinema. So theatrical version. All right. And yeah, I enjoy it. I think it's kind of cool in that it integrates a variety of settings, such as like, you know, a submarine or a military / alien craft, aircraft, like on the big scale, like spaceship scale, but then like the smaller like pod, like individual fighter kind of scale, or a couple people in a little plane or alien ship. But then also includes like scientists, kind of, and then the like people who are like, I was abducted once, you know, like, and then here they come. I thought it's a great movie in the sense of it includes all of those perspectives. It doesn't like kind of stiff arm it with just like two of those. And it's like, no, it includes a full spread. So I very much enjoy it for that. This movie is a reminder that we can celebrate our independence and Independence Day our own way, even though the day is shared. And so I've done that in the past. In 2018, I wrote a poem about pain, because I was like, you know what, this is entitled Pain, and I was like, this is it's a federal holiday, so I can write today, and they can't lay claim to it, because I deliberately made it a certain day. And then 2019, on Independence Day, I went to Scotland. I departed for Scotland. That was very cool. And so I was thinking it, and I was like, kind of in the tone of some of the things I've done this year, 2024 year. I am Tanis Coralee Leonhardi. She here's a shadow. Can I come up with something? I was like, okay, who in my family, other than myself, would be the best fit for writing an autobiography first, perhaps as a form of independence. So like read these books, and there's a spread, like autobiographies and biographies, and there's a spread, and there's a reminder, anybody, if they know how to write their story, can get published by somebody else. Not self-publishing, because anybody can write their own book and publish it themselves if they have those resources available to them. So we're talking about like actual critique, editing, or if one knows how to kind of piece it together, anybody can sell, that kind of thing. So who would be the best fit? So I went with my Aunt Danette. Perhaps she shares what it was like growing up in the 1950s, 1960s, and 1970s as a lesbian. All right, so that is a relatively, especially in the entertainment industry, she actually did, so when I was born in the early to mid 1990s, she was still doing shows. So she was like kind of at the frontier of LGBTQ plus rights, and still is to this day. I was like, that's a book where her perspective of being a lesbian and growing up in times where it was not culturally accepted, right? Was it gay marriage got passed by the Supreme Court in the United States of America in like 2010? Right, interracial marriage was like 60 years earlier for like the last, right? So LGBTQ plus rights, our rights, because I am asexual, are quite a bit behind racial rights and gender rights and stuff like that. And so it was like she actually was part of the frontier on like kind of like the cultural scale. And I was like, that would be one that would be part of history for the LGBTQ plus community in the United States of America. So yeah, that was kind of when I was like, that's independence, but it's like kind of a cool thing about independence is a person can actually have an impact, but they can also be kind of like a document. Because of who they are and how they've lived their life, they not only contribute to a culture, but they can be the kind of like a historian or a documentation, where the person is the documentation of like the culture through their life story. That's not necessarily, there's few people that have that kind of life story, but perhaps that is my aunt. It'd be a cool one to read. So there we go. Those are my movie notes on Independence Day, 1996 film, 27 November 2024 viewing.